Today we are going to discuss about an approach of capital structure, and that approach is net operating income approach, which can also be written as NOI. Formation of the capital structure is one of the most important tasks of a firm because the capital structure has a direct effect on the value of the firm. Every firm strives for its optimum capital structure. However, the capital structure of each firm is different. There are various theories which propagates the capital structure for a firm, and the net operating income approach is one of those theories. This theory is suggested by Durant, and this is one of the extreme of effect of leverage on the value of firm. This theory is just opposite of net income approach. The net income approach suggested that a firm can minimize the weighted average cost of capital and it can increase the value of firm. However, the net operating income is just opposite of net income approach. According to this approach, change in the capital structure of a company does not affect the market value of the firm, and the overall cost of capital will remain constant. This implies that the overall cost of capital remains same whether the debt and equity mix is 50-50 or 20-80 or maybe 0:100. But according to net operating income approach, the debt equity mix doesn't have any effect on the overall cost of capital or the value of a firm. According to this approach, there is nothing like an optimum capital structure, and every capital structure is the optimum capital structure. There are certain assumptions associated with this concept, wherein the number one assumption is that the market capitalizes the value of a firm as a whole, which means that the split between debt and equity is not relevant. Another assumption is that the use of debt having a low cost increases the risk of equity shareholders. This results in increase in the equity capitalization rate. Thus, the advantage of debt is set off exactly by increase in the equity capitalization rate. And the last assumption is that there are no corporate taxes. Now let me explain you the net operating income approach by showing you a model. In this model, we have taken degree of leverage on x-axis, and on the y-axis we have taken cost of capital. In this model, KE stands for cost of equity, KB stands for cost of debt, and KO stands for the overall cost of capital. Suppose at this point the company has a financial leverage of 20:80. One can easily see that at this point the cost of debt is constant. Let us suppose that the initial cost of debt was 10%, and since cost of equity is always more than the cost of debt, we suppose that the cost of equity starts from 15%. At this point, the company has a leverage of 20:80. That means that if a company has a capital of 100 lakhs and the company has procured this amount from debt and equity, that is 20 lakhs from debt financing and 80 lakhs from equity financing. The use of debt with equities is often called as financial leverage. You can easily see that at this point of leverage, the cost of equity has been increased from 15% to maybe 16%. And this increase is because of the increase in their financial risk. But one thing to be noted here is that the overall cost of capital remains constant. Suppose now if a company is financed with 50% of debt in the capital structure, then at this point one can easily see that the cost of debt is constant, that is at the rate of 10%, but the cost of equity has been increased. And now the cost of equity has been increased from 15% to 18%, and the reason is same, because of the increase in their financial risk. But here also you can note that the overall cost of capital is constant. That is, irrespective of the level of leverage, the overall cost of capital remains constant. The reason propounded for such assumptions are that the increased use of debt increases the financial risk of the equity shareholder, and hence the cost of equity increases. On the other hand, the cost of debt remains constant with the increased proportion of debt as the financial risk of the lender is not affected. So the benefit of using a cheaper source of finance is being totally offset by the increase in the financial risk of equity shareholder. Therefore, the overall cost of capital remains constant irrespective of any kind of financial leverage. So according to the net operating income approach, there is no optimum capital structure for a firm and every capital structure for a firm is optimum. Thank you.